Bumping away and steaming for all to see. El Cachorro, El Cachorro. There's a dawn of superheroes here today for you and me. El Cachorro, El Cachorro.
Welcome to another El Cachorro movie review. Movie I was originally going to pass up, but then I ended up going and seeing because of the hype around it. Transformers 1. Originally, this trailer came out. I was excited when I heard about it. I was like, all right, cool, Transformers movie. Prequel. Animated. All right, well, okay, yeah, this will be cool. Saw the trailer. Oh, this is for 8-year-olds. I'm out. And then people started, all the hype from the movie started going around, and people saying it's good. Some guys and some buddies of mine, and from an alliance I'm in Discord, also praised the movie, saying it was really good. So, all right, let's give it a shot. So, while I will say there is a lot of kiddie humor in it, so it's obviously its intended audience is children. So there's a lot of kiddie humor. The story actually was pretty good. I'll give it that. And there was. So a lot of good action for an animated movie, and some really good in-depth story. Very, very, very strong story. Granted, it changes the lore of Transformers, but who actually knows what the lore of Transformers is anymore? Because technically that lore changes every show that comes out. Changed for the movies. It changes for like every animated cartoon they've done. So, okay, I'll give them that. So we'll go with that. Overall, I think the animation was done really well. Like I said, the story was pretty good. Acting, for the most part, for what it was, was not a huge. I mean, there's some issues I'll have. We'll talk about that in a bit here. But I mean, it's just more me. So I don't really think it was terrible. So I'll give it kudos. A movie, for a kids movie, this wasn't bad. IMDb ratings are 7.8 out of 10. I'm probably only popular right now is 9. All right, I probably wasn't going that high. I'd probably go 7. I'll give it a 7. It's like, especially, factoring in, yes, it's a kids movie and everything like that, so I'm not going to denote it for having some annoying kiddie humor, especially one character. Well, he's been turned into a joke these days. We'll talk about that too in a minute. So factoring in, yes, I know going into the movie, I'm factoring in that I know it's for kids, so I know that's the intended audience. So I'm not going to down it for that. So yeah, 7. We'll give it a 7. Strong job. So we break it down here. All right, so our top cast is Chris Hemsworth as Ryan Pax, soon to become Optimus Prime, and Brian Tyree Henry is D16, later to be known as Megatron. Obviously, we know who Chris Hemsworth is. Let's see what's he known for. Spider Train, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Bullet Train. So I'm not really familiar with him much at all. Godzilla vs. Kong. Oh, it's Bernie. Damn. Oh, yeah, it's Bernie. Damn, he let his hair grow. He didn't even look recognizable. Okay, so it's the guy who plays Bernie in the Godzilla vs. Kong stuff. Ooh, well, that's interesting. Well, this character is more serious. I'll give him that. Oh, he's in Eternals as a character, too. Damn, he let that hair grow out. All right, so this is a tough one. I think as for the part, I think they were fine as voice actors. But these are two of the most iconic characters out there. I mean, I am Optimus Prime. Prime. I mean, those are terrible renditions, but you know what Optimus Prime sounds like, and you know what Megatron's supposed to kind of sound like. Obviously, the movies brought back the voice actor from the cartoon, and they did change the Megatron voice, but the Megatron voice for the movie does work, does carries that same gruff to it, like the old cartoon does. So, granted, these are early versions of the characters that, okay, spoiler, will might be kind of become those characters by the end. Um, they didn't live up to the iconicness of the voices. I think they did a good job as the voice actors for the parts, but it's just they had an impossible task they could not live up to. You're not going to emulate those two voices. Scarlett Johansson's Alita 1, that was fine. Alita 1's not that big of an, I know who she is. I believe she becomes Arcea or something like that. So typically that character is the love interest of was in original canon love interest of Optimus Prime. No, not really any of that here. But she was fine. Keegan Michael Key as B127, otherwise known as Bumblebee, will become now is he the early rendition of Bumblebee. Didn't feel this one at all. And I don't really think I mean, he's a comical actor, so I think he did his part fine. My issue more is that Bumblebee is really gone over the rainbow with the comical performance. Granted, yes, in the old cartoon he was kind of the comedy relief, but he was more subtle kind of. It wasn't really anything super over the top that I remember. Now Bumblebee's like a complete joke character. He's just goofy as you could be, and so I mean, for that part he did fine. He's a perfect guy for the role. I just not a big fan of that Bumblebee. I don't like the Bumblebee in the movies. We have just doing all the silly voice prompt radio stuff with the voice and stuff like that, and not a fan of that. Steve Buscemi was the voice of Starscream. Did not like that either. I'll admit that. He did not give me the Starscream that I like. The Starscream didn't have that whiny, deceptive feel to it like Starscream's supposed to have. Alpha Trion was Lawrence Fishburne. He did that voice. That was pretty damn good. I'll give him that. John Hamm was Sentinel Prime. Yeah. It's a different take on Sentinel Prime, but I think he did fine as that character. John Bailey Soundwave. I did like Soundwave. I thought was pretty good. What's John Bailey done? John Bailey looks like he's done some voice work. Oh, so he did Shock. Oh, he did Shockwave and Soundwave in the movie, so he's actually, I guess, familiar with that role. So he's done some Transformers work, it looks like, before. I was like, he was a pretty good Soundwave. I'll give him that. I think he was. Can't remember. Arachnid. Don't really know who that character was to begin with. So, all right, so. Overall, so that was good. So the movie cost, what was its estimated budget? $75 million. That's not counting marketing. And so far, it's made $73 million worldwide. So this is not going to be a successful movie. The movie's not going to be a success because it's already been out in the theater since this is its second weekend. It just happened. So it's already going on its third weekend. It's got a slim shot to break even. It would need some kind of uptake, which I think we got some stuff on the way that's going to knock it off. So quick synopsis of the story is the Transformers live kind of underground. They have to mine for energon because a war that happened destroyed their energon because they lost the matrix of life. It's a thing we see in the movie that Optimus has in his chest a lot of times. We have mining bots, Optimus Prime and Optimus and Megatron are mining bots. They don't have a transforming coil, so they're just they don't have the ability to transform. They dream of a bigger, especially Optimus dreams of a bigger life. So he's trying to like do something. Sentinel Prime is trying to find the Matrix of Life to bring back all the Energon to Cybertron. We learned some of the history of the Primes and how they all died in a fight and lost the Matrix of Life. I can't remember the name of these bad guys. They appeared in the old cartoon. They were the guys with the many faces that would like expand. I can't think of their name off the top of my head right now. They have a really funky name. Is it in here somewhere? I don't think it is. I don't know. I completely have blanked on what they were called. They have like a weird name because it's a strange sounding name. But so they're trying to find a better life for themselves. They want to. Optimus has this Orion, I guess. Sorry, has this belief that if something of bigger things, greater, he's meant for greater things. So they try to stunt by getting into a big famous race, which gets the attention of the big leader of the Sentinel Prime. He comes in and like, oh, that was an amazing job you guys did there, and you guys should like totally the mining percentage has gone way up because of people were inspired by you guys to do so. Claims he wants them to go around and inspire them. The guard robot throws him in like a deep dungeon hole where Bumblebee is, and supposedly that's kind of where you just throw guys to hide them away, whatever. So they end up finding something that gives like a location of the primes, and they go to the surface, and they find one of the primes is not dead. They revive him. He tells the truth. The Sentinel Prime turned on him. Was not a prime, and he turned on him. He turned on him. He joined forces with the bad guys, and he killed them all. And he's actually the bad guy, and he's given Energon to them. And all Transformers are supposed to transform, but before they went online, he pulled their transforming cog from people. So he denied them a lot of people the right to transform, so he could make them mining bots and workers and stuff like that. So we get the big rope to dope that he's the bad guy, and then this is where Megatron starts to fall into his dark side because he really, really, really looked up to him. The Sentinel Prime was like kind of like an inspiration to him, and his favorite Prime was one I don't know if this was ever really a thing before. There was a Mega. So he's D16 in this, but he looked up to a Prime that was Megatron Prime or something like that. Megatron Prime, something like Megatron Prime. And he kind of like his head looked like the Decepticon symbol and everything. So I don't believe that's in the original canon. I think that's a new character. But since he's felt betrayed, he's slowly from here is going to you can see where he's kind of getting dark. He wants revenge. He wants to take out Sentinel Prime by murder. He was like, he has to die. They run into what's called the High Guard, which will become the Decepticons that we know today. Starscream, Shockwave, Soundwave, and then their group are all there, and they've been like doing hit and run missions against Sentinel Prime because they know he's the bad guy and stuff like that. So they've been living up the service on the run. The bad guys come. They kidnap Megatron. I keep calling him Megatron. T16 and B. So Ryan and Elita 1 joined with the remaining High Guard people that were not caught, which is Soundwave, Shockwave, and a bunch of guys. And then Elita gives Orion his pep up speech like, hey, you're good. You have optimism. And she said pretty much they lost the message that was going to show that Sentinel Prime was a bad guy. So they put it on him like it's up to you to go lead, get the people on our side. So he goes, he gives his big Optimus Prime speech, shows that he's got a chance now. The Living Prime Alpha crap, the Lawrence Fishburne one. What was it? Alpha Trion. He takes transforming cogs out of some of these dead primes, gives it to all of them. So now they all have the ability. They learn the ability to transform. Which, ironically enough, like the old cartoon, Optimus turns into a semi-like thing. Bumblebee turns into a car. Arcea turns into like a bike, and Megatron turns into a tank-like thing. I always found that was like the '80s cartoon would have that too. They transformed into something similar to what they would turn into when they got on Earth. Yet the movie said they had to scan these things to become that way. I think the cartoon actually supposedly like does a little recon thing and gives them all the current vehicles they are too. But it's kind of funny how their Cybertron things were very similar, different variations of the vehicles that they would end up becoming later. Which is always kind of funny that wouldn't make sense. So that starts to a big war breaks out. So Prime gets, Orion gets the people fired up, so they start revolting. Um, Alita One and the High Guard come in with their troops, and so the battle's going on. So Arachnid, which is Sentinel Prime's like number one henchman, has like all these little eyeball cameras. So Orion gets the idea where they take her down and they plug her into the thing and they play all the videos that she has stored of Sentinel saying he killed all the primes and he took everybody's cogs, and they really get the people all fired up. So now the full revolt's on. We got D16 is beating the living shit out of Sentinel Prime now because now he's just fully gone in. He's turning into his Megatron self. And he's going to, and then when he goes to kill him, Orion tries to stop him. At one point, Orion takes a big shot and he starts to fall off a ledge, and Megatron and D16 catches him. He's like, I'm done. Why did you do that? He's like, I'm just done saving you. He lets him go, and he falls into this deep pit, into the bowels of Cybertron. At this point, then D16 rips Sentinel Prime in half, killing him. Sentinel Prime did show that he took the cog that was in the Megatronius Prime for himself. So then D16 takes that out of his chest, puts it in his chest, and now declares his name is Megatron. And that he's now going to be the leader of the people because we're not going to fall for any more primes and stuff like that. Meanwhile, we found out the original Prime is who sacrificed himself to become Cybertron itself. So he falls down to the core where their spark is, and they make the matrix of life appear to him. So the Prime tried to take it, but it just vanished on him because he didn't earn it. So they give him the Prime. So they turn him into Optimus Prime. So he goes back to the service, and there's a big showdown with Megatron. Wins, banishes Megatron and his followers, and so they are forced to leave. And Optimus Prime then does a big speech, drops the term Autobots, and then at the end of the credits is a cutscene where all the Megatron's followers are getting the Decepticon symbol branded on them somewhere, and he comes up with the term Decepticons. And yeah, so that's how it ends. So that's the quick synopsis of it. So, like I said, the story was fairly well, trying to show how these two were friends and had a falling apart, and before that, how pretty much led to how they became bitter enemies. So, there's been a couple things that have kind of played with them these two having connections. I never finished the Netflix series, which I would recommend probably still over this, but it was like 3 or I don't know how many parts they ended up making. They do like a 2-hour movie and something like that, and put it out like one out every like year or so. So I ended up I don't think I ever got around to finishing it. But I think that one was really, really good because it was more serious and darker tone. So I'd probably recommend that over this because obviously this is obviously aimed for kids, but that doesn't take away that I don't think this was that good. This was pretty good still. Like I said, I don't know. They plan on continuing it or not. If the money they made is going to scare them away from it, I don't know because, like I said, it's not going to be super. It's not going to be profitable. I mean, at best, could break even. That's still a stretch. But I'll say it was better than I expected it to be. So it's worth watching. If you're a Transformers fan, if you have kids, definitely. If you're a Transformers fan, it's definitely worth checking out. At this point, if you want to help it, you can go see it in the theater and help it out a little bit. Otherwise, it'll probably be on a streaming service. Who made this? Paramount. So Paramount Plus, I guess, eventually. That one stays alive. I think that one's just like been on the border for a bit there. That's my review of Transformers 1. Until next time, Cachorro out.